December 28, 2014, from M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. It was the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens in this AFC North Division rivalry matchup. The Ravens would the ball first on their own 25 after the opening kickoff. They would go 3 and out on their first possession and end up punting from their own 31. The Browns now took over on their own 30 after the punt with about 14 minutes still left in the first quarter. But they ended up getting into Baltimore territory on a 1st and 10 from the 43 when Shaw hit Cameron for a 30-yard reception and a first down at the Baltimore 27. As Shaw got the start, as Manziel was injured and Hoyer were both injured. So now on 2nd and 8 from the 25, Shaw dropped back and he fumbled the ball, and Suggs ended up recovering it. Terrell Suggs for the Ravens, and so now it would be first down for the Ravens on the 27 after the fumble. They ended up going 3 and out though, and would end up punting from their own 32. So now the Browns get the ball back up against their own end zone on their own 8-yard line. But they would end up going 3 and out and punting from the 17. So now after the punt, the Ravens would take over near midfield at their own 41 with a little over 8 minutes still left in the first. They were faced with a 3rd and 4 from the 47. Flacco went to Campanaro. He picked up 17 yards in the first down in Browns territory at the 36. Then on 3rd and 7 from the 33, Flacco went to Forsett. He picked up 21 yards and a first down in the red zone at the 12. They made it all the way down to the 2-yard line. It was 1st and goal from the 2, but then Pearson picked up a yard, and then a run for no gain and an incomplete pass would bring up 4th and goal from the 1. They elected to go for it instead of kicking the chip shot. They gave it to a Forsett, and he lost 3 yards. And so now the Ravens turned the ball over on downs, and the Browns would take over backed up against their own end zone on their own 4-yard line after holding the Ravens out of the end zone. There was just a little less than 3 minutes on the clock when the Browns now took over. And they would end up going 3 and out and punting from their own 12-yard line. So now after the punt, the Ravens would take over on their own 30 with about a minute left in the first quarter. Flacco hits Torrey Smith for a 12-yard reception, a first down at the 42. And on the next play from the 42, Flacco fumbled it. He did recover his own fumble. He ended up lateraling it to Forsett, who lost 3 yards, and the first quarter came to a close. So after 1 quarter of play was knotted up at a goose egg, and now to start the second quarter, the Ravens had the ball on their own 38. It was 2nd and 14. They weren't able to pick up a first down, and they would end up punting from their own 40. So now after the punt, the Browns would take over on their own 26 with a little less than 14 minutes left in the second quarter. And on 2nd and 20, after getting a penalty on first down for holding, Shaw was sacked by McPhee, and so that would bring them back 7 yards, and they ended up punting from the Cleveland 18 2 plays later. So now the Ravens would take over on their own 42 with about 11 and a half minutes left before halftime. They were faced with a 2nd and 10 from the 42. Forsett picked up 32 yards on the ground to bring the ball into Cleveland territory for a first down on the 26. Then on 3rd and 1 from the 17, Flacco ended up picking up the first down on a scramble. He picked up 3, and it was now first down in the red zone on the Cleveland 14 for the Ravens. They weren't able to get another first down, though, and out would come the field goal unit as Justin Tucker would attempt a 25-yard field goal. It was up, it was good, and the first points were now on the scoreboard with the score Baltimore 3, Cleveland 0. So now the Browns would take over after the kickoff on their own 25 with about 8 minutes left before halftime, and on first down, Terrance West ran 36 yards for the first down. Baltimore challenged that he was out of bounds, but the ruling on the field stand. So now it's a first down for the Browns on the Baltimore 39. They were then faced with a 3rd and 3 from the 32, and Isaiah Crowell picked up a yard, but he was shy of the first down, and on 4th and 2 from the 31, they elected to go for it. And Shaw ended up hitting Hawkins for a 3-yard reception, and that was enough to pick up the first down at the 28. Shaw then dropped back in the shotgun. He hit Crowell on a short pass, and he picked up 16 yards and a first down in the red zone. But then on 3rd and 9 from the 11, Shaw was sacked by Terrell Suggs, and so out would come the field goal unit as Garrett Hartley would attempt a 38-yard field goal. It was up, it was good, and this game was now tied at 3 apiece between the Ravens and the Browns. So now the Ravens would take over on their own 41 after the kickoff. They actually had a 21-yard return by Jones, but then an unnecessary roughness penalty against Cleveland tacked on would give the Ravens the first down at the 41 to begin this possession. Then on 2nd and 10 from the 41, Flacco went to Brown. He picked up 17, a first down at the 42. But they wouldn't pick up another first down, and they would end up punting from the 43. Flacco was actually sacked by Kruger, and he forced the fumble, but the Ravens recovered it. That was on 3rd and 3 from the 35. That pushed them all the way back into their own territory, where they punted the ball. And the Browns elected to just take a couple knees as this game went to halftime. So at halftime, the score, Cleveland 3, Baltimore 3. So now to begin the second half, Cleveland would get the ball on their own 14 after the kickoff. And they would end up punting, though, after 11 plays from their own 45. So after 6 minutes and 11 plays, they punted from the 45, and now the Browns would punt it to the Baltimore Ravens, who took over on their own 25 with 9 minutes still left in the third quarter. They did pick up a first down when Flacco hit Steve Smith for an 11-yard reception that brought the ball to the 36, but they would end up punting after 4 plays from the 37. So now the Browns would get the ball for the second time in the second half. They had it on their own 20 after the punt with about 7.5 minutes still left in the third quarter. And on 3rd and 2 from the 28, Shaw hit Hawkins for a 3-yard pass, and a penalty against the defense for offsides would actually make it a first down on the 33. Shaw then went to Gabriel. He picked up 11 yards and a first down at the 44. Then on 3rd and 5 from the 49, Shaw hit Gabriel this time for a 49-yard reception. So now it's 1st and goal on the 2. They gave it to Terrance West. He punched in from 2 yards out, and the Cleveland Browns took the lead with the score, Cleveland 10, Baltimore 3. So now the Ravens will get the ball on their own 24 after the kickoff with about 3.5 minutes left in the third. But after 6 plays, they would end up punting from the Cleveland 38. So now the Browns would take over on their own 7-yard line with about 2 minutes left in the third quarter. And on 2nd and 7 from the 10, they ended up fumbling the ball, but a penalty against Baltimore for a personal foul would end up making it a first down on the 25 for the Browns. Now on 2nd and 10, Terrance West ran 6 yards and brought the third quarter to a close. So after 3 quarters of play, the score was Cleveland 10, Baltimore 3. So now to begin the fourth quarter, Cleveland had the ball on their own 31, and an incomplete pass would bring out the punting unit as the Browns would punt from their own 31. So now the Ravens would take over on their own 17 after the punt, with a little over 20 seconds, a little less than 20 seconds ticked off the clock in the fourth. They were faced with a 2nd and 7 from the 20. Flacco hit Steve Smith. He picked up 10 in the first down at the 30. Then a penalty against the defense for holding would make it a first down at the 35. Flacco then went to Aiken. He picked up 11 yards in the first down at the Baltimore 46. Flacco then went to the tight end Owen Daniels. He picked up 39 yards in the first down in the red zone at the Cleveland 15. They weren't able to get another first down, though, and they would have to settle for a field goal when Justin Tucker came out to attempt a 28-yard kick. It was up, it was good, and the Ravens cut the Browns' lead to 4 with the score Cleveland 10, Baltimore 6. So now Cleveland would take over on their own 20 after the kickoff with about 10.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they would go 3 and out and ended up punting from the 27. So now the Ravens get the ball back on their own 31 with less than 8.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And on first down, Joe Flacco dropped back and hit Torrey Smith for a 53-yard reception. And it was now a first down in the red zone for the Ravens on the Cleveland 16. Flacco then dropped back and hit Torrey Smith this time for a 16-yard touchdown pass as the Ravens took the lead with the score, Baltimore 13, Cleveland 10. So now the Browns get the ball on their own 14 after the kickoff. There was about 7.5 minutes left in the fourth, and they ended up going 3 and out, and so they would punt from the 9-yard line. And so now Baltimore would take over on their own 43 after the punt with 7 minutes still left to play, up by 3. And on first down, Justin Forsett ran it 27 yards all the way into Cleveland territory for the first down on the 30. Then on 2nd and 7 from the 27, Joe Flacco hit Steve Smith for the 24-yard pass that would make it a 1st and goal on the 3. Then on 3rd and goal from the 2, Joe Flacco out of the shotgun hits Aiken for a 2-yard touchdown, and was now a 10-point lead for the Ravens with the score, Baltimore 20, Cleveland 10. So now the Browns would take over with less than 4 minutes left in the fourth, and the ball on their own 20 after the touchback on the kickoff. And they would end up bringing the ball to midfield, and on 3rd and 10 from the 45, Shaw dropped back and he was intercepted by Webb. And so now the Ravens would take over on their own 32 after the interception. Forsett would run for 9 yards and bring the game to the 2-minute warning. Then on 2nd and 1 from the Baltimore 41, coming out of the 2-minute warning, an encroachment against Cleveland would make it a 1st and 10 on the 46. Forsett then ran 26 yards, and the Browns took their first timeout. So it was now a 1st down for the Ravens on the Cleveland 28. Forsett then picked up 3, and the Browns took their second timeout. And on 2nd and 7 from the Cleveland 25, Forsett picked up 8 yards and the 1st down. Cleveland decided not to use their final timeout, and Flacco took 2 knees, and this game came to a close. So the final score, Baltimore 20, Cleveland 10. So the Ravens are now 10-6 on the season, 6-2 at home. And the Browns are 7-9, 3-5 on the road. And so the Ravens would just have to wait and see what was going to happen with Kansas City and San Diego. And actually, San Diego lost to Kansas City. And so the Ravens are still alive with a chance to make the playoffs. So in this game for the Ravens, Joe Flacco was 22 for 36 with 312 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Shaw was 14 for 28. He had 1 interception in this game. Connor Shaw also had 9 yards rushing off of 7 carries. The leading rusher in the game was Justin Forsett. He had 17 carries for 119 yards. And the leading rusher for Cleveland was Terrance West. He had 18 carries for 94 yards. And the leading receiver was Steve Smith. He had 8 receptions for 90 yards. Torrey Smith had 4 receptions for 83 yards and a touchdown. And the tight end Owen Daniels had 2 receptions for 46 yards, all for Baltimore. And for Cleveland, their leading receiver was Gabriel, as he had 3 receptions for 66 yards. And their tight end Jordan Cameron had 3 receptions for 41 yards. And Hawkins had 4 receptions for 33 yards. And the leading tackler was actually a tie, as each team had a tackler with 9 tackles. Daryl Smith for the Ravens and Craig Robertson for the Cleveland Browns each had 9 tackles in this game. The Browns had 1 sack, and that lone sack was by Paul Kruger. And the Ravens had 4 sacks. McPhee had 2 sacks, Suggs had a sack, and Tyson had a sack. And the lone interception in this game was by Webb of the Ravens. So the Ravens hold on to win this one. They actually scored 17 unanswered points in the 4th quarter to come from behind and win by 10. So the final score, Baltimore 20, Cleveland 10.